I didn't feed my worms for a year. Hey YouTube, welcome to Reconciliation Homestead, where we hope to encourage, inspire, and educate people around subjects of sustainability, DIY, and whatever the heck projects we're getting into. Today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about having a worm bin. Specifically, in my context, I'm in an apartment, I'm in the city, and so we really have to do things on a micro scale, and worm bins they can pick up. I can keep them inside in the winter. You know, it was just a good, sustainable choice for people who are trying to homestead on the apartment level. So if you aren't already doing worm bins, they're a great solution. You know, if you want to learn more about how to start one, how to build them, what I've done, tips and tricks, leave something in the comments below. It doesn't smell, it doesn't make bugs. Like if you do it right, it's not, like you don't really even notice that it's there. So if you want to learn more, comment down below, let me know what you want to learn. Any questions you have, I'm happy to answer. So I forgot about my worm bins. And the last time that I fed them was over a year ago. And let me tell you, composting worms are super resilient. And I have not treated them very well. What they do is they respond to their environmental conditions. So if you have a worm bin that gets too wet or too soggy, the worms will actually move out because it's uninhabitable. But if it gets too dry, they kind of go into a hibernation. So what happened is the generation of worms that was in there laid a bunch of eggs and then kind of just go into hibernation mode. So when I opened them up after a year of not feeding them, I actually saw lots of egg casings, only a couple adult worms, and then a couple of baby worms. And I really tried to treat them. So I took some, edges of greens, things that you would normally throw in the trash, and I put them in a blender with water and made sure that they were kind of a pulp. Which just makes it break down faster, makes it easier for the worms to process. And thought maybe that if there was a way for the bins to come back, that I would give them a shot. I put those in there a week ago, and as you're gonna see, it didn't take long for these worms to kind of bounce back. Already after a week, they've completely eaten the greens that I did put in there, and it was about a gallon-sized bag between two bins of greens. So super quickly they bounce back, and there's a ton of baby worms in there. But let's take a look at what the worm bins actually look like now. So as you can see, I'm in my dining room now, and I want to show you, just to prove to you the fact that these worm bins don't smell, they don't have a ton of bugs, because literally these orange buckets that are right here, this is my worm bins, and they're right next to where we eat. So if they smelled disgusting, if they were awful, like we wouldn't be able to sit here and eat every single day. So this is where my worm bins are. There's one that I'm still trying to revive. It's not quite all the way there yet, but pull them out here. This is what they look like. So I'll take this lid, I'll put it on the ground like this. And then if I'm going to take a layer out, I'll set it on the lid. But first I wanted to show you guys what I do. So here's the top layer. I'm reviving it, so usually you would feed at the top, but I didn't this time. This is the layer that I fed them on, and there's just a little bit left. This little tiny brown stuff, this is what was left of those greens that I put in there. See that little tiny little squirmy? That's a baby worm. This is exactly what you want to see. Little tiny baby worms means that your worm bin is healthy. So there's tons and tons of little babies in here. So like I said, usually you feed them towards the top, and as you go further down, it should look more and more like this. So this is your finished product. Like this layer is completely done, and it's just vermicompost. So this is nature's best fertilizer. Think of it not just like vitamins and nutrition, there's a ton of that in there, but what makes vermicompost so powerful is actually, it's kind of like a probiotic for the soil. In worm poop, worm castings, is just when it's alive like this, it's full of tons of beneficial bacteria. Sometimes when the stuff you buy in the store may have all of the nutrition, but a lot of times it's been dried or sterilized to kill the bacteria for shipping and transport and things like that. But actually, this is like live. It's not pasteurized in any way. So you're gonna get the nutrition and you're gonna get the benefit of those probiotics, which just can jumpstart your garden or your soil, or I use it even in houseplants. This is super helpful because then you don't have to use that granule salt-based fertilizer, Miracle Grow, things like that. You can do it yourself, save a little bit of money, and it's much, much, much better for the environment. And the final piece I want to add to this is that these situations kind of remind me, as I'm engaging with nature and creation, they remind me about fundamental truths that I believe about the world. This was definitely a reminder that resurrection is possible. Death doesn't have the last say, and that there's always hope, even in the darkest of nights. Dawn is just on the edge of the horizon. So yeah, hope that encourages you. Hope you learned something. Hope that inspires you to take the next step on your journey. And like I said, if you want to learn more, if you have questions, shoot me a comment, like this video, subscribe if you want to hear more and learn more content like this. And I hope you have a great day. See you in the next one.